we would like to encourage women empowerment through business strategy pillars, where in the end, Dana helps this woman in workplace, in marketplace, in outside work to grow and to embrace change.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new episode of People Led Show by Infido, where I'm interviewing CHROs from Southeast Asia region. My name is Pawan Rojwani, and in this episode, I have the opportunity to interview Stephanie, who is the head of People Learning and Enrichment at DANA Indonesia. She's passionate in people development and has a career spanning over a decade as HRBP across various industries. She has been awarded as the top L&D Leaders Southeast Asia 2023 by People Matters and Coach Hub. With a keen eye for leadership, a listening ear, and a shoulder to lean on, she's not just about HR, she's got a heart for psychology too. If you listen to this entire episode, you'll know why I'm saying this. And I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did while I was hosting her on the episode. Please feel free to drop any suggestions that you might have for us. And we look forward to what we can improve on. And I hope you enjoy this conversation. Superb. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for having this conversation with us. I'm very, very thrilled. I know we have been doing back and forth a lot, difficult schedules, and we also met in person at HR Expo event. So I'm glad we did that. But thank you so much for taking out the time to do this.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, Pawan. And interesting things is we thought that we did a podcast first before we met in person, but
Yeah.
actually we met in person first, and then and when did recording this today.
Yeah. No, but I'm happy that we met in person first. It just breaks the ice as well. So this is going to be a fun conversation. I'm damn sure about that.
Yeah,
And to begin with, this is a question that I like to ask to all my guests that I host.
yeah.
And it is, what are you outside of work? What is something that you do when you're not working? And also tell us what is something that nobody would find about you online, because of course I've like gone through your LinkedIn and tried to Google about you, but what's something that nobody would find about you online?
Hi. Actually, that's interesting questions because I guess in and outside work is actually not really such big difference. At work or when I chilling outside work is actually they're just the same. I actually am kind of an easy going person as in the Saturday afternoon, but maybe some of my colleagues thought that I'm very hardworking person. Some of the some of my colleagues even say that it's weird if one day I don't see staff at office because whenever they came at office at morning they saw me, and then when they just want to go home they saw me too. But the interesting thing is I still enjoy my day. I
Right.
still enjoy my social life. So yeah, actually I kind of, you can say that I kind of a social butterfly person too, where I can be anywhere. I can enjoy my life as well. But actually, when I did a lot of social thingy, I mean, like I do a partying, I do a hangouts. Sometimes when I go back to my room, I can be very chill and introvert as well. I can enjoy my music. I can enjoy my quiet time. I recharge my energy again for the next
Yeah.
adventures days in the next morning. So actually, I kind of can switch from the extrovert to the introvert part of me, and then I can just know to whom I talk to whom I can pour my energy to, and then in the end, at and have my perfect me time.
Yeah, that's actually the best version, because you're like managing that extrovert and introvert is
Yeah.
like the best version. You can like gel around with every kind of group and also have your own time.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that, Stephanie. And I'm really glad. I also resonate with this a lot, because sometimes, yeah, I will go to an event, meet so many people, but probably on the weekend I just want to be quiet and read a book or just like
Yeah.
watch something alone. So definitely I agree with that. Um, what has been like? some of your biggest success or failures till now in your life? Because I'll tell you the context of why I want to know this answer is a lot of our next steps or actions or next few years or next like years would be dependent on what we have learned in the past. So, what have been some of your biggest learnings or successes or failures? If you just even want to say the top two or top three, that's also fine.
Mm. I'm not saying that it's a failure, I guess, because we're still in the process of learning, right? So
Yeah.
you cannot say that you really failed in one area or one thing, because every experience that you've been through, I guess it's become a learning, it's become a experience, it's become a journey, right? But the thing is, maybe for people out there, in my if I can recall from my experience, if I can turn back the time, maybe I will try something new outside this HR area. Because from the time I graduate from the uni, I always have one desk area, which is HR. I never tried any other areas, such as, for example, marketing or business or product or
Mm.
any other area, that I think if I can turn back the time, maybe I will try that.
Oh,
Mm,
that's
Maybe
nice.
I will just challenge myself.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the thing is, I don't have really enough uh, courage to try that area. But the thing is, the other point of view is, I think because of I stay in this area, that leads me to where I'm standing right now, in the HR, become an HR expertise. And if you ask about what is the biggest success, I think, once again, I'm not really saying that this is the biggest so far, but by seeing your employee in the current organizations feel happy and engaged
yeah.
with with the policy, with the organizations, with all the programs that you had, and you enroll in organizations, I think that one of the things that makes me happy and makes me think that, oh, I at least I did a good job. I did a good job. I did a good way. I stay on the right track. Because when you're in HR, when you become a people person, when you become a people oriented and people first and people matters, in the end, that you want to see that people around you can feel your energy, can feel happy with anything that you do in the organizations. And in the end, how big is the impact that you bring to the people around you? I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Um, I was, in fact, on one of the other episodes, I was chatting with Connie about multi-potentialite. And this is something that now nobody's an expert, but more like a generalist. So people are trying different things. Like you could be an HR, but at the same time also a product person. So we're seeing that trend, especially now with the Gen Z. So I'll send you a TED talk also about this, maybe sometime later. Um, Okay, coming to more about work now, how would you summarize Dana's L&D strategy in one line? There's a reason why I'm asking in one line because, of course, we can talk about it for hours because
Yeah.
that's what we do. How would you summarize it in one line?
If I can say in one line, I think, just as the same as what I'm sharing to other people yesterday, at the conference yesterday. I think learning and development strategy in Dana right now is how you can achieve sustainable business through upskilling and reskilling program. So just last week as well, when I have a chat with my CEO, he also told me that let's just have this strategy when we really focus on the upskilling and the reskilling to our employee. It's not about the topic anymore. I mean, like the specific topic anymore, but any topic that Indian can make our employee get a new skills, and then it can maybe achieving a new role, and then help the business to grow more. I think that's the most important things. DANA Indonesia for next year, of course, we would like to grow more and grow bigger and expand our business because previously we are in the e-payment features, right? But I guess next year we would like to expand more to help Indonesian people to achieving the cashless society by internalizing the digital payment in the day-to-day life and of course make their life easier. So with those big visions and mission in Dana, I help these organizations to help them getting new skills to learning and development. So it's kind of tricky because, like I said before, right? If I can turn back the time, I would like to jump to the new topic, which is the product or the marketing or the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now with my current role, I don't have any other choice but to learn about the product, the business, and the marketing. Because by learning those topics, I know what is the exact topic that my employee needs to learn.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you said that it's tricky, but you play a very important role for keeping the business future ready. Like
Yeah.
upskilling and creating those strategies is definitely quite important to keep the business future ready. So thanks for answering that. Um, I remember yesterday when we met, we were chatting about culture in general and how
Yeah.
Dana has a very flexible work
Mm,
environment compared to other organizations in Indonesia. And um, I want to understand from you, how does that culture enable learning, or that flexibility enables like fostering a learning culture, and at the same
mm,
time, how is it like impacting business goals, is what I just wanted to touch upon first.
Okay. In terms of the learning culture, when the first time I joined Dana, it's actually the things that get me quite adore is the learning culture in Dana Indonesia. All I can say that most of my employees really love to learn. They really love to know something new. They really love to getting new insights from other expertise. So that makes my role is kind of bit easier because when I want to encourage learning opportunities, learning culture for them, is I I will provide them with chances to learn and grow. For example, whether it's through workshop, courses, and other conference.
Yeah,
Any method that in the end giving them, the garden to where the sunlight can shines and make them keep thriving to move to the better version of them. So encourage learning opportunities by giving them the platform, the media, the sessions for them to grow. And
mm,
then the most important thing is I think make it fun. Um, During the pandemic, where we only can see each other through Zoom, through other to online platform, I think some people already get bored in the framework of very structured, very mandatory lecturing, very one-way interactions. That's why starting going back to the office, I'm trying to make the classes more fun,
yeah,
involving the focus group discussions, gaming, and then more interactions because you can see the difference before pandemic, and then we struck with the pandemic for 3 years, and then the people start to going back to the office.
yeah,
When they going back to the office, you can see that they're really happy to interact again with human,
yeah,
they really, you can see from their face that they really enjoy the live interactions, live discussion. So I guess that's the way I'm doing right now in terms of the strategy, where you establish the live interactions through
yeah,
the discussions, through the gaming, and uh, one of the things that I noticed that currently in Dana, a lot of people also like to talk in front of people. So we have this talent development trainer development pool where any employee can be a trainer, can be a facilitator, they can be an MC, so they can improve themselves to become the lead of one of the event. So I maximize that kind of potential within my employee. And
Nice.
then the rest is just, yeah, asking your stakeholder, your management to support, getting the leadership buy-in, and then consistent feedback. Because some of my program also not going well. So when the feedback's not good, I will just revamp and find something new.
Yeah, yeah. No, making it fun. Learning should be fun actually. Otherwise, it looks like other additional workload altogether. So, definitely agree with that. Have
Yeah.
you been using any newer technologies that probably other HR leaders should like adopt to, or any AI tools? Of course, you mentioned about gamifying the experience of learning. Uh,
Mm.
but anything that you have been using that's like a new age kind of technology?
In terms of the technology, because everyone in here is adopting the I guess every Monday, our leaders, including our CEO, always brainwash us with the AI thingy. So as simple as, for example, that could you guess which one of this picture using AI, or this is a new picture or not? So that kind of gamification which make our employee need to adapt and to
Yeah,
learn about the AI things. So for example, when we want to make a slide, the deck, even our CEO said that, hey, actually, you guys can no need to take more time to make a deck, because you can just use an AI and ask AI to make a deck for you, or
yeah,
even just to make an Excel and do a calculations for you. So some of some of meetings, some of our employee try to adopt that, and in the end, it become a jokes because it still need a lot of improvement, right, from
yeah,
our side to
yeah,
learn.
yeah.
So,
Because it will always need that human intervention. It will never be like 100% perfect. Like for example, we use AI for transcribing these recordings.
mm,
Like they would, like note takers. Any Zoom meeting, you can record meetings and you can then take notes, and all of it is happening via AI. But of course, it's not word to word correct.
yeah,
We would have to do human intervention into it. And just like yesterday when I was in Jakarta, so I had to speak to the cab driver and explain him something. So I was using Google Translate, but that was
okay.
also not completely correct. So some things I had to like change to it. So definitely AI and the technology will need that human intervention.
The interesting part is, so a couple days ago, when we used the generative AI also with all the trends, and the thing is with the AI, I kind of agree with you. Us as a human still become the pilot of the AI. I mean, like we
Correct.
still need to give a, for example, a correct questions. You need
Correct.
to put the correct sentence to the AI, unless they will not give you correct answers, right? I
Yeah.
think in the future, I kind of agree that even if we are very benefited with this high technology, we as a human still need to maximize our brain and our knowledge, so that in the end, that technology can help us.
Yeah.
Unless that, it will be just the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, and I am also yet to understand how the next few years would be, but
Yeah.
right now it definitely is like a human plus AI, and human is the
Mm.
pilot of these technologies.
Yeah.
Um, I noticed that you have been very passionate about psychology from your like since your childhood. Has that helped you in any way at your day job as an HR professional?
Mm.
Does it help you connect better with your work or understand more about culture and
Mm.
organization management, talent management in general?
Mm. Okay. Before I answer that questions, I would like to ask you, Pawan, what is your childhood dream?
Oh, my childhood dream was so I had like two dreams. In the
Okay.
very beginning, I wanted to become an astronaut.
Mm.
Was very difficult. Like you have to study a lot. Then second, I wanted to be a cricketer, like in sports. So that
Mm.
was my second thing, but that also couldn't happen because my parents were always like, "No, you have to study. You cannot just go out there and play always." So yeah, then I studied and I became something else. Then I became something else. So yeah, that was my childhood dream.
Okay. So when talking about the psychologies, actually psychology, all I can say is it's my childhood dream. So I think all I can say that I'm living my dream right now. But it's actually before I want to be a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Before, yeah. But if you want to be a psychiatrist, you need to take a medical study first for years, and then you need to take a master to become a psychiatrist. And same like we're Asian parents are like, I don't know, it's too long for you to just get study. You need to get a work. I say
Yeah.
okay, and then I took psychology. So back to your questions, maybe because psychology is always my passions. I always love human. I always love people, the interactions, the uniqueness of the people. So it helps me a lot to understand the dynamics of the people in my organizations,
Yeah.
in the current organizations or even in the previous organizations. It makes me easier to. I'm not saying that I always understand people, because people, human is very complicated. Maybe especially women, we are very complicated, right? But at least by having a background in psychology, I know some of the what is the every what I'm trying to say is every person, every individual, they have their own individual motivations, right? So I think that makes me can understand them.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are motivated by very different things, and sometimes an employee, whenever you go to work, some people going to work is really, they really passionate about their work, their role. But some people also going to work, they really live by check, and then they really need to feed their family, and they don't care about, I don't care about the promotions, I don't care about the career, I just want to get paid every month for my family. So that makes me to understand them more and deeper, and then in the end I can give I can give a fit reaction for them. For example, it's like, hey staff, I just want you to listen to me and not give a reaction. So
Yeah.
I can just predict that, and I can be very bluntly to them, hey, you want me to give you some response, or you want me to just listen to you? And then they were just okay, I just need you to listen to me. I can fine. I will not give you any answers, even if I hold myself and, oh my God, you're just so wrong. But I just help myself. I just keep silent and I will just laugh to them. So in terms of organization, it's just the same. Sometimes I give my insight. I give them a mindfulness things, especially for young generation. Sometimes they really need some attention and tender loving care, where you need to show that you really understand them, and then and if you already can give them that awareness that you really understand them, as a young generations have their own credibility, the connections built, the relationship can be improved, and in the end, as a people team and as a HR team, you can reach that you can reach to the point where your employee trusts you
Yeah.
as an HR.
Yeah. No, that's great actually, and I also feel it does help if you have that interest in psychology, that you need to understand how people work. What are their motivations and their reasons of
Yeah.
working with you or joining your purpose of the organization. So it's definitely helpful. Um, I have one question which I was just thinking about, because um, you can create the best L&D strategy, and you can plan it out and everything, but the way you execute it becomes like very important, right? You cannot just force people that no, you have to finish this training by Friday end of the day. So how do you really communicate and like work together and collaborate with employees and also make it fun? Because like you mentioned that learning should be fun.
Yeah.
um how is this really happening on an execution level? If you can tell us a bit about that.
Um, I think the most important thing is, when you sometimes when you execute learning and development, you you kind of just execute the modules based on what the management asks you to do. For example, it's like, hey
Hmm.
staff, the next year we would like to go to these directions,
Hmm.
and it's really top down communications, right? And you
Yeah.
never consider a bottom up communications, whether you never check whether your employee is ready or not to go to the directions. You never ask them whether this is the perfect time for them to execute this program.
Yeah.
So one of the examples is, I think 2 years ago, yeah, before the pandemic, 2019, Dana execute Dana hackathon, like
Hmm.
any hackathon happens in the outside. So it's internal hackathon where there was an ideation process, and in the end, like the management would like to gather an ideas, right,
Yeah.
within our um, within our organization. So the first time hackathon is totally success. We have lots of ideas, and those ideas become implemented in our features. And then when the management thought that the one program becomes successful, and then the management will ask you to rerun the program in the next year, in the next batch. Management will ask you to do, let's just have an ideation again, the hackathon again. But the thing is, what the management didn't realize is the timeline and their BAUs and
Hmm.
their, day-to-day things, that besides that program, they still need a lot of to do. They still
Yeah.
need a lot of works. So
Yeah.
some of the things, what I'm trying to say is, some of the programs that might not work, it's not, all I can see that it's not that the employee is not interested with your program.
Hmm.
Maybe they're just too overwhelmed with their BAUs. They're really overwhelmed with their own timeline. And when you take them to join your programs, their own work is still there. Sometimes it's they in the end they just rejected your program because all they say is, staff, my KPI is the most important. Your program, your learning program, is not at and it's not helping to finish my KPI. I mean, like, your program is not a robot, and my work it's cannot be done by themselves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
clear
Makes sense.
communication, yeah, clear communication, establishing the openness, and make sure that we have the same expectation. What I'm trying to say is not just the learning and development expectations, because for the learning team, you're like a sandwiches, right? You're in the middle between you and the management and you and the employee.
Yeah.
So I think you need to have a clear communication, both
Yeah. Yeah.
vertical and horizontal, and you really need to manage the expectation, and that makes me so far can execute my program, because sometimes I really just push back to the management where, hey, sorry, I cannot execute this because I'm just checking a random check on the floor, and this specific department is burning out. I mean, like, you
Yeah.
cannot ask them to enroll to other program,
Yeah.
because in other meetings you just ask them to do something else. I mean, like, and then you just cannot bore them with other jobs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the summary is that all I can observe is, if people have more time of free time, I'm quite sure they really love to learn something new. The
Yeah.
thing is, I think it's very classic reason for people not really having an enthusiasm to learn. It's just the reason is the same. I don't have time. I really don't have time.
Correct.
Time is, yeah, 8 hours at office, and then they really need time to, for example, Jakarta is very traffic, right, Pawan?
Yeah. I've experienced that in the last 2 days.
Yeah. So, for example, 2 hours at the road for commute time.
Yeah.
And then you also need 8 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours to sleep. And then you also need to divide your time to your family, to your partner, to your friends. And you don't have time to learn anymore. So I think that makes sometimes learning program, engagement program, because I also handle engagement, right, is very difficult because we also need to appreciate their personal time outside work.
Yeah, yeah. No, makes sense. And
Mm.
it's definitely execution becomes like the key in these programs. To talk about one of the specific programs, I think this was the women empowerment.
Yeah,
I think if I'm pronouncing right, it's called Sis Birdaya program.
correct. Yeah.
So tell us a bit about this. Why did you find a gap that you needed to do this, or was this out of your own passion? How did this come
Mm.
to life?
Okay, so to make it clear, so actually this Berdaya program, it's not my program. It's my other team's program in the Indonesia. So we have this specific team to enroll this and to execute this program. It's came from our corporate communications and from our external team and partnership programs. So if I can mention as well, so this my colleague Sharon and Shella, they made this happen from the CISBerdaya team, CISBerdaya program. Why DANA Indonesia finally execute this program is actually based on the demography in our employee. We have 35%. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, 35% of our employees women,
Mm,
and at the 50% from the 35% is actually mom. Women, career women with kids, and they need to juggle between works and become a wife and become a mom. And from that issues, we also noticed that outside DANA Indonesia, especially Indonesia, a lot of women entrepreneur that don't have a chance to expand their business because they just really don't know how.
yeah.
They cannot find any mentor. They cannot find how, where to start, what to do, what kind of business they need to enroll. So, from that point of view, we would like to encourage women empowerment through business strategy pillars, where in the end, Dana helps this woman in workplace, in marketplace, in outside work to grow and to embrace change, not just to stay at home to raise your kids, but we want to increase a knowledge and increase an awareness that, hey, you can be as a full-time mom, but
Yeah.
in the end, you also can be a full-time entrepreneur and you also begin to become a full-time wife. As simple as us, like women in Indiana, Indonesia, we also do that, right? By that chances, we give them a mentorship on how to face a challenge in digital era, especially in digital payment.
Yeah.
And in the end, we give them a mentoring, and especially we focus more on the nano, micro, and in the end, small, medium enterprises. And we give them a chance to grow. We give them mentor, and then we give them chance to meet some investors to expand their business and how they see the market. And then in the end, they can just when they already get the understanding about, oh, this is how you run a business, this is how you run your product, this is how you can win the market, and then in the end they can just run by themselves. And once again, in the end, it's their choice whether they would like to become a full-time entrepreneur, full-time mom, plus full-time
Yeah.
wife, or in the end they found that, okay, I think this is just enough. Because sometimes a lot of women, they choose not to start anything because they scared, they afraid that, I think this is not going to work. By this
Mm.
program, Sis Berdaya program, Sis Berdaya is actually sister and Berdaya. Berdaya is empowerment, so it's just like,
Oh, okay. Now I get it. Makes sense.
so it's just a mix like sis
Yeah.
Berdaya. So we would like to empower a lot of our sisters
Yeah.
uh, to to find something new. We never know that maybe business is one of their passion, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's one of the key highlight why in the end, Dana also touch the empowerment for women.
Got it. Got it. Okay. That's definitely, I think, a very well thought of, and it seems a great program. And with this, I'm going to come to my last two
Yeah.
questions. And The first one out of it is I just want to understand from you, what do you think makes a great HR leader? I think some of the answers that I've heard in the past is like they have to be an empathetic leader,
Yeah.
um, and they need to adopt to technology. They need to also understand business, how it's working, and some of these other things. But what's your opinion? What do you think makes a great HR leader?
Hmm. I think, and I'm still trying to learn to become that ideal type of HR leader. Is HR is one of the department or divisions and organizations where you interact a lot with human, right? It's not
Yeah,
really
of course.
interact with the technology. Most of your time you interact with people, with human being, with the one that have feelings, have a thought, have a different background, and etc. So
Yeah,
I think what makes a great HR leader, where you really can become a first people person, like I said before, people oriented, people first, people matters.
yeah,
Um, where you really can listen to them and become their friends, where you can achieve the point where your employee or your team not seeing you as an HR, but seeing you as their friends. You're very reachable. You're very touchable. You're very easygoing, and they can drag you whenever they would like to have a conversations with you. So
mm,
by become that, and then your employee can be friends also with the management. You know, the gap is become smaller between the employee and the management.
yeah,
Because all I can say that sometimes with the all the policy happens in the organizations, the gap between the employee and the management become bigger and bigger, right? It's just because the policy, because of the some of the difference of the argumentations become makes the relationship between the employee and the management
yeah,
not good. And you as an HR, I guess you become the moderator, you become the man in the between to make them harmony and get a synergy again.
yeah,
I think it's all about balance. Because from the HR, we also have the operational side of HR. We do a payroll, we do insurance, we do all the calculations and benefit. But I think how you make it everything balanced, not too financial things,
yeah,
not
yeah,
too others. But I guess it's not good if you too people oriented. If
yeah,
you too people
yeah,
oriented, I guess you will just give a very good benefit for them
yeah,
without paying attention on the company expense and the operational expense, right? So I
yeah,
think it's all about balance, not too financial, not too people oriented, and not really into the business. Because if too into the business, it become very transactional.
yeah,
So I think you need to know where you stand and to whom you will speak. When you speak to your employee, you positioning yourself in HR, but positioning yourself whether it's for the employee benefit or it's for the management sake.
yeah,
When you talk to the management, you also need to have a standpoint to represent your employee. I
yeah,
think it's about balance.
yeah, yeah. My last question, and I would like to also end this on a lighter note. What is one thing that you believe in that most other HR leaders don't believe in? Like there might be something that it's just like your own strategy. It's Stephanie's strategy or Stephanie's opinion that nobody else like kind of believes in.
That's a difficult. That's the last question, but that's a difficult question.
Okay, I'll tell you my answer.
Okay.
So a lot of times, so like what happens in marketing is everybody's trying
Mm.
to think about, okay, you are going to spend XYZ amount of money, but what is the return on investment on this?
Mm.
And I'm like, it's not always about return on investment. It's sometimes also about making people connect with your organization, connect with your brand, and make them also feel like the purpose and build the interest within them. And usually it's not easy to quantify this, right? How can you measure if somebody is interested in your organization or all of that? And it's not always possible to quantify it.
Mm.
So that's something that a lot of other marketing
Marketing.
people don't believe in,
Mm,
it's totally okay. I'm okay with that. I'm like, that's
mm,
okay, that's fine, not a problem. So
mm.
there might be something that you believe in, or you have like your own thought process or strategy as that maybe other people don't believe in.
I'm not sure whether other people believe it or not, but I think it's quite common in Indonesia market where, from the HR perspective, where you know, where majority of the development program, the learning development program, is focusing on the high talent and high potential people,
Hmm.
and you're not really focusing on the mediocre employee.
Yeah,
If you're using the bell curve,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
only focusing on the high talent on the right side, 20%, 50% from the population, whereas they take a very top positions in the organizations.
yeah, yeah,
And maybe the second option is you paying attention on the mediocre employee where they just met the expectations, but they're not really have a passion to grow more. But I
mm,
think the one that we really need to take a look is the bottom performance.
mm,
Sometimes the people who are in the bottom performance, it's not really they have a very bad performance, but maybe sometimes they just not really fit into the job. They
mm,
really need fit into their current role. It's not something that they really cannot do the work. Maybe
yeah,
they really, it's not about this, it's not totally about the skills. So sometimes when you taking care of the bottom performance, all I can do is I check with them whether their current role is their really passion, they really fit into the job, or they really fit into the team. Sometimes it's the matter of the team that makes them become the from the bottom of the performance. So maybe moving forward, what I have in mind is how can we make it balance from the development across the performer. I mean, like we taking care all of the employee, not just focusing on the high performers. High performance is one thing. I mean, like we want to retain our best talent, right?
mm,
But how if this bottom performer is actually also one of the high talent and high potential people that haven't found their passions. They haven't found their really role, their really job in the current organization. So
mm.
of course we wouldn't like to miss that potential people, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, makes sense. I mean, why would you just focus on the top performing
Yeah.
ones? Because the whole point is when you upskill and support the people who are not performing that well, is when you can have more great performers.
Yeah.
Uh, in fact, I've faced this quite often, especially when you join a new organization. The first 3 or 6 months are more like, okay, you're still adapting, absorbing. You're not hitting maybe all your KPIs, and it's very much possible. So that patience is needed and that support is needed from the leadership. Um, but yeah, thank you so much, Stephanie, for doing this. I am glad that we were able to do this conversation before I head to my US trip, and I was like, okay, great.
It's so
Let
fun.
let's make sure this happens with my Jakarta
Yeah.
and US travel
Yeah.
that I'm doing.
This is
Uh,
for work. This is for work or for holiday or both.
Yeah, yeah. So, thank you so much for doing this. I'm sure we're going to stay in touch, and I'm so glad that we met in person as well at the HR Expo event. That was a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
the next time I'm in Jakarta, I'm definitely meeting you again. This time, probably not at work, but at the Saturday hangout that we do. But
Sure. Just let me know. You need to make sure that you let me know when you visit Jakarta again.
definitely. But once again, thank you so much for doing this. I had a
It's
fun time doing it too.
Yeah, likewise, Pawan. Thank you so much for having me in this very great conversations and sharing. Once again, just to note that outside Indonesia, we have the same passion, we have the same directions that, once again, to make people and organizations feeling engaged and how we, as in HR people, help them and support them.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad, and hopefully, when I visit again in Jakarta, I'll use the product as well and be a small part of DANA Indonesia as well.
Sure.
Yes, thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you so much, Pawan. Have a great time in US and safe flight.